Welcome back, wrestling fans. This is your host, Danni Deeds. This is WestWord Wrestling, and we are the word on wrestling in Canada's West, BC, Alberta, and Saskatchewan. Coming at you every week, giving you the lowdown, be it in written format on Facebook and Instagram at WestWord Wrestling, or on YouTube and Podbean via these podcasts to give you a rundown of the champions, the upcoming events, the promotions that are running in these three provinces, and how you can find them on social media so you can go find wrestling in a city near you. Find out who these champions are. Find out if you want to bring them to your promotion, if you are a promoter looking for talent. If you want to go take in a show and you want to know where they're going to be at, look into what's going on. It's all about wrestling. That's why we're here, folks. We're here to enjoy it. I'm your host, Danni Deeds. I'm going to enjoy a cup of coffee, a little bit of a breather. I'm a happy and proud new dad in the last couple of weeks, so our schedule has been off a little bit because of, well, my own sleep pattern, to be quite honest, but we're still trying to pump out the information as best we can. I recommend most often Instagram and Facebook because we have the written content up, as well as the logos for the companies, and then you can follow their social media as well with direct links that are there. And then Twitter is, well, Twitter's Twitter. We have it at WestWord Wrestle, and fact of the matter is we got a little bit of a spam overload from them, or however they do that. We had a lot of content we were pumping out. We're still active on Twitter, but a lot of the information we've been trying to mainly focus on our other channels and through the podcast, just because there's so much, and divvying it up and the amount of characters. It's a lot to cram in there on Twitter, but we do have it. It exists if you want to follow along. But in the end, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, where you're going to find most of that information, and tuning into these weekly podcasts. It is the rundown. We are on, where are we here? July 17th. Normally we've been aiming to do these on Sundays, but I traveled on the weekend, put in some wrestling matches myself, and of course coming home and playing dad. You know, those need to be the priorities. The information, here it is now, right? So, you know, better late than never, I suppose, in this situation. And all of it, of course, as I mentioned, is on our social media. I'll take a big swig there. That's enjoyable, too. And a big thank you as well to our sponsors. What do you need? Event services and more. The Painted Sparrow, Smoke Circle Apparel, and His Art Burns. All right. We're going to kick things off in, let's go back. Let's start things in Saskatchewan today. You know, there's no events coming up until Canadian Wrestling's Elite runs a tour with the Mountie over 5 days. They're coming up Weyburn, Prince Albert, Saskatoon, Yorkton, and Regina, July 25th to the 29th. That's what's coming up for Saskatchewan. And then, of course, they'll be there August 17th in Cote as well. They're Manitoba-based. We haven't included them in the rundown of what's going on. But as they continue, I mean, they tour all across Canada. And so there's a chance they may dip into Alberta and BC and Saskatchewan a little bit more in the coming months or years. And we may start to include them in our information, just to keep you up to speed as to some of the people that you might see coming through. Yeah, so I wanted to just mention that as well for you. I'm just going to scroll back up here because, you know, all things on the phone, etc. If you did want to follow them as well, CWE Canada on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, CW Elite 1, and on the web, cwecanada.ca. Saskatchewan, though, back at you, will be Ringside Wrestling, and it'll be in Moose Jaw on August the 5th. And then they're also going to be in Regina on the 26th of August and September 1st. So you get 3 opportunities to see wrestling in a city near you, courtesy of Ringside Wrestling. Currently, their North American champion is Levi Knight. The international tag team champions are Moses Luke and Joey Vendetta. Ringside Wrestling on Facebook and on YouTube. Twitter is Ringside W, and Instagram is Ringside_Wrestling to find out more information about those upcoming events. Prairie Pro Wrestling will be announcing more information about their next shows coming up shortly. On YouTube, however, Prairie Pro Wrestling SK, they've been releasing a lot more of their recent match content that you may not have had a chance to take a look at. So head to their links and check some of that out. On Twitter, PPWYXE, Instagram, Prairie Pro Wrestling SK, and Prairie Pro Wrestling on Facebook. Their heavyweight champion is Sheik Shabazz. Best Entertainment Wrestling kicked things off last weekend with two events, North Battleford and Humboldt, pardon my mispronunciation there, and they will be back in Warmont on August the 4th, and then in Christopher Lake on August the 5th. More information via their social media on their upcoming shows. You can find them at BEW Wrestling on Facebook and Best Entertainment Wrestling on Instagram. Their national champion is Jeremy Prophet. Their Y Division champion is Sean Moore. The national tag team champions are the Tattoo Terminators, Massive Damage and Wrath. The national women's champion is Kat Von Hees. The interprovincial women's champion is Relentless, Riley Rose. All right, now since we're going in reverse order, let's go in reverse order. We're going to go to Alberta. We'll finish off this thing in BC this weekend. We will get to Alberta next up. Can-Am Wrestling. Their Stuart Memorial Heavyweight Champion is Bobby Sharp. The Can-Am Wrestling Tag Team Champions are Beast Around, Jude Dawkins and Travis Cole. The Women's Champion is Relentless, Riley Rose. Their Junior Heavyweight Champion and current Stuart Memorial Rumble winner, which grants him a title match of his choosing, any belt at any time, Mr. Beefy Goodness, Vance Nevada. And your Community Chaos Champion is Dean Holstein. They're in action this weekend at one of their home bases in Okotoks, July the 21st. Facebook, Independent Wrestling 2021, Can-Am _Wrestling on Instagram, Can-Am Wrestling on Twitter, and YouTube Slammed TV 5388. And as I mentioned last week as well, we've been including the YouTube links and trying to get the social media down. If things change, please let us know. YouTube wanted us all to verify accounts as different promotions and companies. Some of them had already done that, but now a bunch of them have numbers fixated to the end of them, and it's mainly just a little technical glitch that can be fixed. So if we miss anything and any information changes, pardon me, tickle in my throat. It's a long way to talk, and I lost my voice a bit doing some growling this weekend at the crowd, as it says. Anyways, we're going to get back on track. Wanted to retouch on the YouTube gimmick. Real Canadian Wrestling up next. Canadian Heavyweight Champion is Mitch Clark. North American Champion is Nasty Nate Nixon. British Commonwealth Champion is Johnny Devine. Your new Alberta Heritage Champion is Bobby Sharp. The International Tag Team Champions are Steve Wild and Steven Styles. The Tag Team Champions are the Rads, Larry Woods, and Rich King. The Women's Champion is Kat Von Hees. The Hardcore Champion is Steve Wild. They will be hosting an event this Friday, July the 21st in Calgary. RCW Wrestling on Facebook, Real Canadian Wrestling on Instagram, RCW _Wrestle on Twitter, RCW Online 378 on YouTube. Love Pro Wrestling, back at the end of July, the 27th, once again, battling the Clandestine Society, and on the 28th as well, in Edmonton. And you know it's going to be an exciting time. Their Grand Champion, Zoe Sager. Their Challenge Champion, Son of Irish. Their Tag Team Champions, Paralira, Sheik Shabazz, and Barak Garani. And their Scramble Champion is Jack Pride. Nice and easy across the board. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, all at Love Wrestling CA. And on the web, lovewrestling.ca. Pure Power Wrestling will be back in Lethbridge on August the 25th. You can catch their heavyweight champion in action. Kyle Sebastian will be on hand that night. And of course, their Western Canadian champion, Dewey Robson. Pure Power Wrestling on Facebook, Pure Power Wrestle on Instagram, PPW Official on Twitter, and Pure Power Wrestling on YouTube. And they will also be in Tabor the following night on August the 26th. Wild Rose Sports Association is gearing up, stacking the cards, making announcements August 17th, 18th, and 19th. Kicking it off in Red Deer. They will be back on the road. Wild Rose Sports Assoc with a C at the end of that for Facebook. I'm sure you can search it in your bar there and check it out. Wild Rose Sports on Instagram. Wild Rose Sports Association on YouTube. WildRoseSports.ca. And their champion rundown, heavyweight champion Cody Mack, mid-heavyweight champion Dalton Roos, cruiserweight champion is Davey Disaster. The tag team champions are the Profits, Rhino Reynolds and Chris Castles. The women's champion is Kat Von Hees, and their hardcore champion is Wrath. Top Talent Wrestling returns to Edmonton on August the 12th. You can find all the information about the upcoming shows and talent announcements. Top Talent Wrestling on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Top Talent Brand on Twitter and TopTalentWrestling.com. Their champion is Ava Lawless, and the guaranteed title shot contract holder is Mitch Clark. Monster Pro Wrestling returns to Edmonton on August 4th, the Friday night. Their heavyweight champion is Blake Cannon. The provincial champion is Massive Damage. The tag team champions are the Wild Boys, Tarzan Hayes and Massive Damage. The women's champion is the Matriarch, and the Leo Burke Cup winner for 2023 is Bobby Brake. Their social media info, Monster Pro Wrestling on Facebook, MPW Wrestling on Instagram, Monster Pro AB on Twitter, and Monster Pro Wrestling 3451 on YouTube. Wrapping it up in Alberta, Dungeon Wrestling had a great event on Saturday, July the 8th, the Romero Rumble. It had did I say Rumble or Rumble? Pardon my if I didn't say that correct. I don't know what. Oh, where's my mind gone, Danni Deeds? Nonetheless, Dungeon Wrestling. They will have their next announcement shortly regarding their next event. Their Stu Hart Heritage Champion is Nick Aldis. The tag team champions are the Billington Bulldogs. You can find them on Facebook at Dungeon Wrestling, Dungeon_Wrestling on Instagram, D Wrestling YYC on Twitter, and Dungeon Wrestling on YouTube, and DungeonWrestling.ca is the site. If we get more information on Wrestling Rodeo or Big Vision Wrestling running, we will give you that information as well. And just looking out here, I wanted to also make mention, if you're looking to train in Alberta, if you're out there, Alberta Wrestling Academy in Calgary, Top Talent Wrestling Academy in Edmonton, and Clandestine Wrestling Society in Edmonton are some training facilities that are currently running. I believe Monster Pro Wrestling may also be running camps out there as well. Check in with all of the promotions. I'm not sure of all of the training facilities. I've got a lot of the information so far on AWA, Top Talent, and Clandestine. I'm still doing research, but I want to include things as we go along about that. So if you're interested in getting involved in the business in Alberta, reach out either to a local promotion near you or one of these facilities and look into it. I recommend it. Live your dreams, kids, as they say, but you never know what could come from it, right? So, all right. Well, here we go. I'm going to one-shot one. We're not even going to edit these. I think it's better that way. I used to try to put it into a bunch of cuts, but quite frankly, it is what it is. The idea is it's supposed to be lax, and for you to get that information in a very, in a way that only Deeds would want to just throw out there, eh? Anyways, another great weekend for wrestling is coming up, and another great weekend happened this last weekend as well, too. And to bring you up to speed, of course, we've got 5 shows this weekend. One of them is a private event, but 5 shows coming up this weekend, and then the following weekend there are 3. And as we head in, just a reminder, what we like to do is on Sundays we post the information in 2 posts, sometimes 1 depending on Facebook or Instagram, covering all of BC, all of those promotions. There's currently 11 groups that have announced dates, so we've included them in our promotional rundown. But if there's more, of course, we'll do that. But of course, we have to break that down. So check that out. And then we go into Alberta and Saskatchewan on Mondays. So that's paired together. Tuesdays is the current month as well as upcoming events the weekend. We just give a little bit more information about what's upcoming directly, but that's how we go. And then we get into the following month, and the following month we're going to be transitioning slowly into giving you even October teasers for BC and September calendars for Alberta in the coming weeks. We have some of that information put together, but we're just still reaching out and getting all of our ducks in a row so that way we're not missing anybody as we go along, and we look at upcoming dates as well too. So as mentioned, though, we've got a lot coming up. Stay tuned to our social media for that, and let's wrap things up for the week of this rundown. There we go. Good old telephone technology. Yeah, it's not the typical way to do a podcast, but here we go anyways. Thrash Wrestling, your champion, backstage pass, Braden Goss. Their interior champion is Rhea Von Slasher. The tag team champions are the Enterprise, Justin Sider and Charlie Joseph. And for the first time ever, a brand new Armstrong Metal Fest champion in Top Drawer, Michael Moore. This past Saturday in Armstrong at Metal Fest. The only time in his history that he has held this particular championship, and it makes him a Grand Slam winner in Thrash Wrestling. So good on Michael Moore for that accomplishment. Thrash will be off the rest of summer and returning this fall, September the 15th, at the Luso in Penticton. And they also announced this last weekend they will be returning to the venue that popped them all. It's the big one, the Penticton Trade and Convention Center, once again this November. Stay tuned to their social media for more information and when tickets might be available upcoming. Instagram and Facebook, it's Thrash Wrestling BC, and YouTube, Thrash Wrestling. WrestleCore, only a week or so away, and they are back at it again, July 29th. This time it is WrestleMania at the Russell and Roots Concert Series in Surrey, BC. A wide range of talent, including God's Gift to Wrestling, your Infinity Champion, Michael Richard Blaze, and then, of course, August 5th and 6th at the Waldorf in Vancouver, British Columbia. Lucha Libre Spectacular, hosted by Mercury Artists, Cobra Kai, Calamity Kate, Parallel 49. There's a variety of vendors, live music, and of course, international stars from all across the world are going to be featured here, and a lot of great local talent and Western Canadian talent are going to be represented on these shows as well. Get information now. Get your tickets on Eventbrite and check it out. August 5th and 6th at the Waldorf. You can find them on Facebook, WrestleCore, Instagram, WrestleCore RLD, same on Twitter, and WrestleCore on YouTube. World Wide Web, as they call it, WrestleCore.ca. This Friday night, July 21st, 365, Pro Wrestling returns to the White Eagle Polish Hall in Victoria, British Columbia. Championships galore on the line. Huge matches already announced. Devin Shooter, your 365 Pro Wrestling Champion, will be in action. Your Combat Champion for 365 is Eli. Surge, the Women's Champion, is Rose. And your current Tag Team Champions are Ela Tribe. Information for them on media, 365 PDub on Facebook, 365 _Pro Wrestling on Instagram, 365 PDub on Twitter, 365 Pro Wrestling on YouTube, and as well on the .com. Yeah, 365ProWrestling.com. Just to clarify. Vancouver Island Pro Wrestling, 2 dates this weekend in Port Alberni and in Duncan, British Columbia. Now, a word ahead of time, if you are traveling to Port Alberni on Friday for this particular event and you do not live in the Port Alberni area, check your local road closures. Highway 4 is intermittently closed throughout the day, and as a heads up traffic-wise, you may need to plan your daytime around the situation, and I know I'll be attending and performing on the event, but as a heads up to those heading out who might be hearing this ahead of time, take your time, plan your day to and from Port Alberni on both ends, however it works for you, so that way you don't get caught up as much and you can just enjoy wrestling, and hopefully it'll be a smooth transition for you. Their champion, VIPW, sorry to get off track, is Mr. Beefy Goodness Vance Nevada. The tag team champions are the Hillbilly Hound Dog, Draco and Scotty Mack, and the Anarchy Rules champion is the Moment Taker, Jordy Taylor. Instagram for them, Vancouver Island Pro Wrestling, VIPW_pro on Twitter, VI Pro Wrestling on Facebook, Vancouver Island Pro Wrestling, ending with an N, 9217 on YouTube, and VIProwrestling.ca, where you can find tickets and information about the upcoming events. You can also catch us after the show, July 22nd, in Duncan at the original Joe's in Duncan, who happened to be the sponsor for that particular event, and there's a meet and greet after the event at that particular location for those interested in attending that as well. Boom Pro Wrestling will return to Vancouver on September the 16th at the Boombox, the Canadian Legion on commercial. The Vancouver City champion, who recently made his debut on AEW, is your weirdo hero, Randy Myers, and the holder of the Golden Haunches, which is a title match at any given time. He can cash that booty trophy in and perhaps have an opportunity to win this title. And he also made an ROH debut this last week as well. I'm talking about the Northern Star, Evan Rivers. Information for Boom, Boom_Pro_Wrestling on Instagram, Boom Pro Van on Twitter, Boom Pro Wrestling on YouTube, BoomProWrestling.com is the website. Big West Wrestling's internet champion is Rick Jules, the K5 medallion holder, which grants a title match at any given time, is Shreds. The 2023 Okanagan Cup and Rutland Rumble winner is the Prodigy, Sean Murphy. And they have a private event upcoming on July the 22nd, and then we'll be returning to Enderby on August the 18th and Kelowna on August 13th as well. They've just announced 3 dates, October 20, 21st, and 22nd, through BC Event Makers as well, and they're going to be releasing information about that on their social media. They've already announced Sumate Wokla, who's going to be coming out here and performing on those dates. So follow their social media for more information about that. Big West Wrestling on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube, Big West Okanagan on Twitter, and BigWestWrestling.com is the website. Nation Extreme Wrestling will be back in Vancouver at their home away from home, the Commodore Ballroom. New 14 takes place on Saturday, September the 9th. Nation Extreme Wrestling on Facebook, Instagram, and on the Twitter, it's NEW Wrestling Inc. YouTube's Nation Extreme Wrestling, 7827, NationExtremeWrestling.com. The Champion Rundown, Mr. Ferguson, your champion, Nicole Matthews, your champion, and your tag team champions are the Midnight Marauder, Casey Ferreira, and Maxwell Benson, ULT. All-Star Wrestling will be in Surrey this weekend at the Gone Country, and they've gone carnival crazy, apparently. Ye Old Carnival. A variety of familiar faces in a variety of unique roles in this even more unique lineup of matches. It's going to be an exciting day. There's going to be live music. It's a fundraising event to battle cancer and cancer research, and it's this weekend in Surrey. Go check it out. All-Star Wrestling's taking part in this event, and then they will also be at the Agri Fair this year, debuting their brand there August 4th, 5th, and 6th. Showtimes are still to be announced publicly, but they will be part of your ticket to the fair. So it's one of the largest events that ever takes place in Abbotsford, and it's our exciting big one of the year every year. We have a few of them out here, but the Agri Fair, that's ours out here in Abbotsford. And so to have wrestling back at that event, it'll be exciting to see what happens out there. I believe it's at the Cadet Hall again, as it has been traditionally, down in the bowl by Twister's Gym and Rotary Stadium. Anyways, agrifair.ca if you want to check out information and tickets on that event as well. And then All-Star will be back in Vancouver. They've announced Chilliwack and Abbotsford, all taking place this September as well. ASW Canada on Facebook and Twitter and YouTube and Instagram, all across the board, ASW Canada, and allstarwrestling.ca, the website. Their heavyweight champion is the Mighty Lacombo. The women's champion is the Fallen Flower Kikyo. The tag team champions are the Bollywood Boys, and the 2023 Pacific Cup winner is the Prodigy Sean Murphy. September 16th, I can't even speak, but we're almost there, folks, is a big date for Vancouver because Glam Slam will be at the Wise Hall. So you got Boom on one end of town, you got Glam Slam on the other. The Glam Slam is an experience like no other, and if you haven't had a chance to be part of that, I recommend you go and check one of these shows out. Their anniversary champion is Liza Hall. It mixes pro wrestling and entertainment and dancing and singing, and it's just a vibe. Glam Slam TV on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and the .com, and then of course YouTube Glam Slam TV 507. 2 more to go, folks, and we'll wrap this up. Primetime Wrestling back at you. Prince George, September 8th and 9th. More information about those shows will likely be released soon. We've just found this information on media that these dates are there. So I'm sure that in the coming weeks they're going to address that. So follow their media, Primetime Canada on Facebook and primetimecanada.ca, the website and the Instagram handle as well. Their heavyweight champion, racking it up in both provinces, Mr. Beefy Goodness, Vance, Nevada, the Northwestern champion, Backstage Pass, Braden Goss. And Monster Pro Caribou County has been re-added. They have 2 events coming up at the end of the month. They're kicking things off first in Williams Lake on July the 28th. Their champion is Massive Damage. The tag team champions are Stu Cruel and Levi Knight. And they also have the Fraser River Championship, which is currently vacant, but I'm sure that they will address that, of course, themselves at upcoming situations if they choose to. Instagram, MPW Wrestling, MPW Caribou on Facebook, and YouTube is Monster Pro Wrestling -CARIBO. So Caribou without the extra O, 3218. MPW Wrestling on Twitter. Now, they are affiliated with the Edmonton brand of MPW, so if you can't find information directly or you have questions, you can ask them out there as well. I believe they might be running training camps in the general Williams Lake and surrounding Caribou County areas. If you're interested up there, if in BC you're interested for training, of course, Lionsgate Dojo is down in Surrey, British Columbia, Pro Wrestling Academy in Campbell River, and VIPW, Vancouver Island Pro Wrestling, has a training facility in Nanaimo. And Thrash is starting to do basic introductory wrestling seminars as well in the Okanagan area. So if you're interested, of course, on the BC front, those are some opportunities near you, but I recommend checking out some of those options if you're interested in becoming a wrestler or a referee or just involved and want to be around, reach out to a local promotion, find out how you can help. There's a lot going on around here, and it's an exciting time for wrestling. So I'm going to go finish this cup of coffee. I'm going to go kiss my son goodnight, and I hope that you all take care of yourselves and each other. I look forward to coming back at you with more information in a week from now. Check out our social media as we continue. We've already posted BC, Alberta. I've got Saskatchewan that's going to go up shortly. I'm going to get this podcast up and out there for you. And then, of course, as the days go on this week, your rundown, July, August, and September, come Thursday, we'll be posting that. Stay tuned, and thanks for your time. Enjoy wrestling and each other. Have a great night.